Welcome to everything you wanted to know about helping voters but were afraid to ask. This module suggests strategies for how to help voters. The League of Women Voters of Dane County created the document Helping Voters with Registration and Photo ID as a guide to help volunteers engage with voters to get ready to vote. The top table contains a series of questions to help the voter determine how they will register, online or by paper. Once that determination has been made, the bottom table contains directions for how to proceed through the rest of the registration process. Let's look at each table in more detail. In the top table, the first column lists the questions to determine how the voter will register. The far right column has possible answers with related next steps. The middle column has suggestions for how to help the voter in responding to the question. The first question is, are you registered to vote at your current address? If the answer is yes, there's no need to proceed with the registration process. The volunteer should, however, confirm that the voter has an acceptable voter ID. If the voter answers no, that is, they are not registered at their current address, you proceed to the second question. Do you have a valid, unexpired Wisconsin driver license or state ID? If the voter answers no, you know they will not be able to register online, and you proceed to the mail delivery or paper registration directions in the bottom table. However, if the voter answers yes, that is, they have an unexpired Wisconsin driver license or state ID, you know the voter may be able to use the online system, and you proceed to the next question. Have you updated your name with the DMV if your name has changed since the last time you voted? If the voter answers no, that is, their name has changed since the last time they voted, and they have not yet updated it with the DMV, you won't be able to proceed further with the registration because the voter must appear in person at the DMV to change their name. They cannot update their name with the DMV online. If the voter answers yes, that is, their name has changed since the last time they voted, and they have updated their name with the DMV, or the name change question is not applicable to the voter, you proceed to the next question. Have you updated your address with the DMV if your address has changed since the last time you voted? If the answer is no, the voter can proceed to the DMV website to change their address. Once their address has been updated with the DMV, you can proceed to the online voter registration directions in the bottom table, which we'll view in the next slide. Or if the voter's answer to the question was yes, that is, their address has changed and they previously updated it with the DMV, you can also proceed to the online voter registration directions in the bottom table. Please remember that changing the address in the DMV system does not automatically change the voter's address in MyVote. The voter must enter or re-enter the online system in MyVote to continue the process of changing their address for voter registration purposes. When you are interacting with a voter, your conversation will hopefully be natural and more fluid than this series of questions. This series of questions, however, gives you an outline as to how the conversation can generally proceed. The bottom table has two parts: steps for registering on paper and steps for registering online. For either option, the steps described in this table are permissible only during the open registration period, up to 20 days before an election. Registering on paper, or mail delivery as it is referred to in MyVote, has 5 basic steps. The voter can start with a paper form provided by the volunteer, or the voter can enter information in the MyVote system, but rather than submitting the information electronically, the voter prints out a paper form. Once the form has been completed, the volunteer checks it for accuracy and completeness, including the voter's signature. The volunteer's next step is to discuss with the voter the proof of residence they plan to submit with the form. Once proof of residence has been decided on, the volunteer and the voter decide how the registration form and proof of residence will be submitted. The voter can mail or submit the documents to the clerk, or the volunteer can submit them on the voter's behalf. For City of Madison residents, there are unique submission options. In addition to submitting documents to the clerk's office, documents can be submitted at any Madison Public Library or Madison City office. For proof of residence, City of Madison residents can send a photo or screenshot of their proof of residence via email to por@cityofmadison.com. The last step in the process is to confirm that the voter has an acceptable photo ID to present on Election Day. If the voter has an acceptable ID, remind the voter to bring it with them to the polls. If the voter does not have an acceptable ID and needs help getting one, refer the voter to the Voter ID hotline or call the hotline on the voter's behalf. Registering online, or OVR, is the second option and has many fewer steps. The volunteer directs the voter to the MyVote website to complete the online voter registration process. Unlike a paper registration, there is no separate step for signing the form or determining proof of residence. The voter's updated name and/or address in the DMV system serves as proof of residence for purposes of registration. Finally, no arrangements are needed to submit documents to the clerk, since the information is submitted electronically. And again, the last step is always to confirm that the voter has an acceptable ID. With online registration, we already know the voter has an acceptable ID since they needed to have a Wisconsin driver license or Wisconsin ID to complete the registration in MyVote. Remind the voter to bring that ID to the polls on Election Day. Thanks for viewing this module and helping other voters to register.